What up, world? This your homeboy Wordplay TJ. Sorry about that delay in the background. It's had some technical difficulties to address. So, all right. I'm ready to kind of start this broadcast. Ready to get this thing started. The technical difficulties had to deal with just some things in the background not working properly, but I thought I tested. I thought I set up, but we're gonna keep on rolling, keep on trying, and make it do what it do. But I'm prepared. Anyway, if this is your first time here, my name is Wordplay TJ. I'm a hip hop artist and producer from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I make music for the underdog. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all of that other stuff. Facebook is even called Facebook anymore. Look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm here to give you tricks and tips that help you with your music business as I go along through my own. And so when I'm making music for the underdog, I'm making music for folks that want to go to the next level, want to take it to the top. And as I'm doing that, you're gonna learn with me along the way. So thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out. Be sure to hit that like button as you're watching. And that like button will help increase the YouTube algorithm as we're going along. So if you don't hit that like button, it just makes me sad, makes my heart go some small sizes, and doesn't help with people getting to hear this content, getting to see this video as we go forward. Be sure to put your questions, your comments in the chat for me to answer. And as we're going along, I'm going to kind of answer some questions in the background. And while I'm answering those questions and I see stuff pop in the chat, I will stop and answer your question as I go along, and then continue the Q&A that's based off of my YouTube comments that are regularly going. Just a real quick second, I'm going to make sure that folks that want to be here get the right link. So I'm going to edit that on my YouTube. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing some love. Of course, you can share this post with anybody. Make sure that you share this video with any independent musicians that want their questions answered along the way. And if we're ready to get into it, I'm going to switch my screen to a different view so you can see the questions that I'm going to answer along the way. So shout out Yoda Biloxi, putting that comment in the chat. Thank you for watching. Be sure to share as we're going along. Here we go. So the first question comes from Mr. Perfect Daniel. I've distributed my song to Spotify and I've been sent a link to my song, but when I click the link, I see my song title, I see the album art, but a different song is playing. So how do we solve this problem? How do we fix this issue? My first thought was, you should reach out to artist support at Spotify or your distributor to make sure you got the right file submitted. I would argue that your distributor is the right person to send that to, actually. And the reason why you should send it to your distributor is to make sure that when the file that you gave your distributor is the right music that's going up. So do you even recognize the song that you're hearing, right? Is it yours? Is it somebody else's? Like, what's really going on? And then sometimes I wonder if your name or the song title, just by coincidence, is the same as somebody else's. And that's a kind of like a 1 in a million chance that that happens, but it can happen, and it does happen. So Daniel, if you're listening, if you're watching, be sure to check out or ask your distributor what's going on with my music, because when I use this link, it doesn't work right. Also, reach out to Spotify artist support if it helps. I want to make sure that I'm sharing this video with other people, getting that link out there, and getting people to see what's up. One second, let me pause this for a second. So what's happening is that on the live stream that I had pending at first, it didn't cooperate with me, and so there are individuals that are waiting on the other live stream, but the other live stream didn't work. And so now I know that the system isn't as failure proof as I would like it to be, but it's all good. We can keep rolling along, and I'll make sure that it gets shared out. Okay. So I can go back to share my screen. Let me get that pulled up really quick. Make sure I'm sharing the right thing. But yeah, if you have any other questions ever about getting your music or getting the right links to the right place, be sure to check out my video for Spotify for artists, or making sure your correct link is with your correct music on Spotify and Apple Music. I have both of those videos available. Shout out Icarus Gray, gonna be kind of helping out in the comment section. Yoda Biloxi, can you get paid from PRO when a feature performs the song you both share? So yeah, so you can get paid for that, and that's a great question. So let me kind of break down how that works, right? So when you register a song with a PRO, say you're registering with ASCAP or BMI or something like that, you go and register your song, right? And your name is on that registration because you wrote a big portion of it. The feature's name is on there because they wrote a portion of it. And so when you go and register that song, it's stuck, it's locked in, and every time it's streamed, you get that performance royalty. But on top of that, you get it when it's performed live as well. So say, for example, you go and perform the song live, and that same person goes to perform that song live on the same day. What you would have to do is then go to ASCAP or BMI. You would have to go to your profile or your account, and you would have to put in what's called a performance request or a performance notification into their system. And once they know that you perform that, they will bill the venue based off of their fees and things of that nature, and then send you your royalties for that performance, no matter which one of you performed it. So in this scenario, both of you performed it at the same time. So both of you would receive royalties from that song because both of you are writers. If you have the producer registered as well, that producer would earn some credit from that too. So thank you, Yoda, for that question. I'm going to come back to your second question. I see that in the chat a little bit after I address this next question from the comment section. Be sure to like this video. If you're watching it live, be sure to share it with somebody that is a musician that might get something out of it. And be sure to check out some of the links that are in the description for this video while you're watching. So you can book a session or consultation with me. You can check out some of my ebooks that I release for independent musicians and go from there. So here we go. What's up, SGO? So the next question from my comment section is from 1203 Productions. If I lease beats to artists, will DistroLock, this is a service that DistroKid provides to kind of track your music across the web, will DistroLock prevent them from uploading their song? And if so, how can I let only them upload it to YouTube? It's a very tricky question. I answer it here. I said there's a great chance that DistroLock will prevent it from being uploaded, but you need to kind of do a different workaround. In this situation, you got to write an agreement with that artist that they only put it out on YouTube for that song. And that's really hard to do, right? Because artists want to get their music out on Spotify, Apple Music, all these other places. And that's great to kind of get it where you want it to, but at the same time, it's hard to really control that. So, 1203 Productions, I think this is a great question. It's a great opportunity to kind of work out a business negotiation or business agreement, but this is going to be a difficult agreement to enforce. You're going to have to, what up? My wife's in the chat right now, just watching. Shout out to Trinera. So having that agreement, you're going to have to enforce everybody that you make beats for to only upload to YouTube, which is really, really difficult to enforce. It's really, really difficult to do. And it's probably not really good business in the long term. So what I recommend is lease the beat, let people put it where it's going to live. And then if something blows up, take the clout from that. And then continue to kind of grow your business. SGO, I see your question in the chat. Can you rephrase that? How do I get a, I don't know what that is. So, please rephrase and, I'll answer that question. So hopefully, 1203 Productions get something out of that answer, and we can go from there. Everybody that's here, be sure to hit that like button so we can bump up the YouTube algorithm and get people watching this live stream while we're still going. I'm going to go back to the chat, answer the question from Yoda Biluxi. Got another question in the chat. How does your distribution team shop for opportunities like sync for soundtracks, soundovers? I'm gonna assume that's like, kind of music over top certain things and things of that nature. So when it comes to distribution, and you're talking about publishing right now, distribution and publishing are in two different buckets. And what I mean by publishing, I'm thinking sync licensing and licensing your music across different places to collect publishing royalties and also collect some royalties based off of the usage of that record over time. Ultimately, what's difficult is that your distribution team wouldn't be handling things like this. You would need somebody dedicated on your team to focus on licensing, because licensing is a lot of work and it goes into a lot of buckets, which is why it's really, really difficult for me to do it myself, because it's a whole task. Number one, when you're licensing music, you have to register all of your songs with a certain database so people can hear it easily. And then once you register your songs with that database, you have to start splitting up your songs into different parts. Those parts are called stems. And when you're making the stems for your tracks, that would be like the instrument, the vocal parts, all of that other stuff. You have to register all of those stems to the database too, and then add all the metadata. So the metadata is how long the song is, what genre, what's the tempo, who wrote it. There's other parts to it, just kind of like thinking about the mood of the song and what type of instruments make up the entirety of the song. Is it a male vocal? Is it a female vocal? All of that metadata goes into the licensing program. And then you have to find people to pitch your music to. And that's 90% of the work. Once you have the music set up in this database, then you have to go pitch it. You can pitch it to music directors. You can pitch it to other people that will take your music and put it into their catalog. But ultimately, it's really, really difficult for one person to handle all of those licensing tasks if that's not their dedicated job. So what I recommend is that if you're a musician, find somebody that's separate from distribution, separate from even your management team to do licensing for you full time. All right, I see a lot of folks that have jumped in the chat. I see another question from Yoda as well. We can talk about NFTs and go from there. If you have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat right now. I will go through the chat. I will read those questions and go back and forth between the questions that I have prepared and the questions that are in the chat. Be sure while we're talking to give a thumbs up on this video so it can be shared by the algorithm and then pushed out to other musicians that want to learn from what I'm putting out here today. Let's go ahead and go to the next question here. D Mode says, we need a union of some sort to help fight for artists. These tech companies are merely guests in this industry. And I pretty much agree with that. It's one of those difficult things that, we kind of talked about this on our podcast today. Myself and Icarus Gray, we talked about the difficulty between how a lot of artists have some challenges with artists have challenges with dealing with changes in technology, and those changes in technology create barriers to getting your money, but it also makes it easier for the consumer to hear that music. So it's this catch-22 that artists are continuously stuck in the middle. And I agree. Like, we artists, musicians, it's due time for a union. Matter of fact, it's past due time for a union. The reason why the movie industry, I believe, is still thriving, still doing well, is because a lot of movie jobs and positions have unions behind them. And so the Screen Actors Guild is a union that some musicians can participate in, as a matter of fact, but that's a union that's made up for Hollywood and folks in the Screen Actors Guild. They get the working conditions that they're asking for because they've created that union. So my answer is agreed. Maybe I should start one, but then again, I think about that work and I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna do all of that. So it is what it is. But thank you for the question in the comment section, D Mode. If anybody else has any comments after you watch this video, if you're watching this later on, be sure to put them in the comment section. I go through every once in a while, every few weeks, and I answer a lot of comments. Can't do it as much as I used to, but I still like to dive in there and answer those comments as best as I possibly can. Let's go back to the chat. Take a look at some of this, some of these questions. SGO still hasn't clarified that question. So SGO, if you want to clarify, please let me know. Yoda Biluxi comes back. NFT, should we place value in merch or sales? Are those three? I'm curious. Are those maybe two separate questions or three separate questions? So I'll answer them as three separate questions. Number one, NFTs. So the hard thing about NFTs, or the thing I like about NFTs is that it's on the blockchain, and it makes use of technology that's out there that I really, really believe in, that I believe that will kind of be a game changer for certain things that we saw when the NFT thing was a big splash, how people responded to it, and how people felt like it was an opportunity to kind of cash in. Well, now it's kind of cooled off a little bit, and so I think that that market still is viable, but at the same time you have to have the attention in order to keep those prices high. So are NFTs worth something? Yes. Are they worth something to people that have a lot of clout? Probably more so than any regular folks. Are NFTs really difficult to produce and make valuable and available? Yes, as well. So I would be cautioned with NFT. And I made a whole video about NFTs where I tried for several weeks to get some traction on an NFT and even make it and put it up for sale and all these other stuff. And I jumped through a lot of hoops just to get my NFT set up, and it was not worth it at the end of the day. So if you have somebody to kind of help you do that, then it is worth it. Should we place value in merch? Of course. We should always place value in merchandise. And when I think about placing value in merchandise, we just want to make sure that you have merchandise that people, number one, want to wear, represents your brand, and represents people's lifestyles. And so when you're thinking about merch, be mindful of who's going to be wearing this and what kind of designs you can add to to your merch table that will be that will kind of touch both boxes, or check both boxes, where you get your brand into the forefront, and also that person's particular interests will be in the forefront as well. So let's just say you got a band called Cats Love Boxes, and for some reason your fans are all cat lovers. You wanna go ahead and put all of that information onto a t-shirt, right? So maybe it's a cat inside of a box, and that represents the Cat Loves Boxes band, and you put that up on your merch table. That would sell to a lot of the audience that loves cats. And so if you don't have a lot of cat lovers and you have dog lovers as your audience members, then you want to play off of that known knowledge. But that takes you getting to know your fans, getting to know the people that are supporting you in the first place, and making sure that you're doing that. Icarus Gray and ask in the chat, do you have merchandise? Of course, I have merchandise, and merchandise can be found down in the description, wordplaytj.com/merch, and it's scrolling across the screen whenever we get back to answering questions again. The last question from Yoda is merch, does it have more value than sales? Ultimately, dollar for dollar, you can get more value out of your merch sales than you can, say, 1,000 streams, right? That's hands down very, very important. And if you remember some of my videos about merch, right, creating a great merch opportunity, especially at your shows, will help you earn more money or more revenue oftentimes than the show itself. And so putting time and energy into your merch is a great idea, and I would invest more time than streams or sales. So I have some more questions to go through, and I see a JS Pro recordings in the chat. I'm gonna answer that question in the chat first, and then go from there. So JS Productions and Recording says, what's the top promotional tool for you to use for your projects? That's a great question. I have two promotional tools that I like the most. The first promotional tool that I like the most is a free one, and it is Pandora's AMP system, and that's called it's AMP stands for Artist Marketing Platform. And so if you go to Pandora and you go to their AMP um, uh, profile, it's at amp.pandora.com. You can create your profile, you can add your music, make sure your music is rotating and distributed to Pandora beforehand. Connect your songs, make sure that you submit your songs to make sure that it's in their system. And then once your song is there and it's live, you can use their free promotional tools to create audio recordings for your fans. You can promote shows that way. You can promote merchandise, or you can promote new music that way. You also want to use their featured song promotion or their single promotion for your songs every time you release one. And so that's what I like AMP for. And all of those tools are completely free through Pandora. And they offer you metrics and metadata that you can track so you can see how well your songs are doing. One quick second, I'm going to take a quick break for a few moments and then come back to this. In the meantime, let's go ahead and check out this countdown for the next few moments.
Says made this one.
All right, all right, all right. So I just needed a quick second, take a breather, take a quick break, and now I want to jump back into it. So JS Pro Recordings, let me know if I answered your question well enough. I'm going to go back to my primary question slides. If you're new here and you just arrived, be sure to make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm, and let people know that I'm here. Share this video with somebody that wants to watch live or ask their questions about their music business advice. I'm going to continue going through the chat. I see a question from Mastermind. I see Yoda Biloxi got another question in there. Finn Rico also has a question. So I'm going to jump to Mastermind next. Let me see if I can pop out this chat. See if I can share that with the rest of you. I think I can. Yeah, buddy. So I'm gonna make it a little bit larger. Cover the screen up a little bit, and then let's see if you can see that. There we go. Yeah, buddy. I like the way that looks. Kind of. Could look better, but we're just winging it for now. So if you can't see that, it may be hard to see, but Mastermind says, can you speak on exclusive rights when buying beats? Yes, I definitely can. So there's a couple types of rights when buying or purchasing instrumentals online, and those rights are non-exclusive or exclusive. Non-exclusive means that you can share the music with more than one person. So more than one person can buy those rights for that thing from you. Then usually this is an instrumental or something like that. So most people that lease beats, they lease them non-exclusively. And so when they're leasing things, they're leasing them for a smaller dollar amount than an exclusive would go for. And when you do lease those beats, you have to be under some certain terms and conditions, where you can only sell a certain amount or you can stream a certain amount before you have to start paying a different rate to the producer. And also there may be a guarantee that you will have to put the producer's name in the publishing credits or something like that. And I think hands down, whether you're getting non-exclusive or exclusive beats, you should always put the producer in your credits, in your publishing credits. Like, they make the music, and so it's really, really important to give them their shine, whether they're asking for it or not. But ultimately, the difference between non-exclusive and exclusive, you get to decide what the rights are for yourself. And so they're signing over the rights to that beat exclusively. And normally exclusive beats are way more expensive than non-exclusive beats or beats that are leased out. Exclusive means that it's one of a kind for you. You're the only one that has the beat, and then you're the only one that has the new master recording made from that beat. So nobody else has your beats, and it's a great idea if you want to sell your music widely and collect all of your royalties to do a non-exclusive. If you want to get all of your royalties, make sure that you buy exclusive beats. Sorry, not non-exclusive beats. You want to buy exclusive beats. If you're leasing beats, you can't really collect everything that you're owed, based off of the terms and agreements. And everybody that leases beats has different terms, has different agreements that you have to go by. And so it's really, really important that you read those agreements and those terms. I'm going to come back to the chat here in a little bit. Be sure to put your questions there. Be sure to hit that like button for the algorithm. And we're going to continue this after I address one other question over on my slides here. So this question comes from the Sound Painter BKNY. And Sound Painter asks, what do you think about United Masters? This is a difficult question to answer, and it's difficult because I have mixed feelings about United Masters. So number one, um, round of applause to Steve Stout. Round of applause for Black business getting into the sale of, you know, or the distribution of other artists, right? So like, it's a great business move by Steve Stout to create United Masters and help artists propel themselves. What I'm confused about, or what I'm concerned about, is that is the crux of my answer to the sound painter. They seem to be getting better, but the game is the game, and you got to get your numbers up in order to stand out in most places. And so, what I mean by that is the cream rises to the crop, right? Or the cream always rises to the top. What am I saying? The cream always rises to the crop. Anyway, so because of that, you have a lot of people that will take their clout, their notability, and or their notoriety, and they will be the ones that get pushed by United Masters for like licensing to the NBA or something like that. So I'm wondering sometimes, is United Masters any different than other distributors? Because other distributors you'll get some opportunities from other distributors, and so I think United Masters is great, but are they all that different? In some ways, yes, but in other ways, I'm not so sure. So I'm going to go back to the chat, take a look at a few other questions. So I'll go back to so thank you, Mastermind. Thank you, JS Pro Recordings. Thank you, Yoda, for your questions. I want to go to Fenrico and then answer that question. I would like to distribute my music through my music publisher, but I want to collect YouTube royalties differently, so that I protect the YouTube with YouTube Content ID. This is a tough one. Um, I think it's great that you want to distribute through any music publisher, all that other stuff. That's a little confusing of a sentence, right? So your distribution is separate from your publishing, and I want to make that clear distinction so folks don't get confused, right? So my my question is, like, who are you distributing through, and then also who is your publisher? Oftentimes, you can collect YouTube Content ID through your distributor. I wouldn't recommend it through DistroKid because it's too expensive, and I would recommend it through CD Baby because it's it's not expensive at all. It's actually included with every distribution package, and so you have to kind of pick and choose who you want to do that. Audium is a great place, but recently Audium has kind of locked down their service in such a way where if any of your music gets flagged in their system, you could be fined like $10,000, and that could be based off of a simple like drum sound or a licensable sample that you use from like a beat pack or something like that. And so my thing is that they're a little bit too strict for YouTube Content ID at this point for me. And so I terminated my agreement with Audium, and I said, hey, I'll go get Content ID from somebody else. I think that's a better decision. So you can collect, again, I just want to recap, you can collect your Content ID through your distributor. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it if your distributor is CD Baby. I'm sorry, if your distributor is DistroKid. I would recommend it if it's somebody else like TuneCore or CD Baby. Let's see. I'll leave the other slides and I'll stay in the chat because we got a lot of great questions in here. Shout out to everybody that is dropping these questions in the chat. This is a really great live stream. My homie Icarus Gray is here with us, just hanging out and making things run smooth in the background. I'm gonna make sure see if I can give him some moderator type abilities in the chat. Let's see. Make this person a moderator. Now Icarus Gray is moderator. Thank you for that, my friend. Fenrico, if I didn't answer your question 100%, be sure to let me know how I can better answer that. But I think I got it. Mastermind asks, what should your contract state to ensure that a beat is exclusive? Mastermind, if you're a beat maker, you want to make sure that if you're a beat maker, you want to make sure that your contract just says that this cell is in the exclusive beat, and you want to make sure on your sales page that you write exclusive for the beat, right? So exclusive beats normally in every case don't have any previous owners. And so whenever you make a beat that's exclusive, you want to make sure it's the most fire beat that you can sell to somebody, because ultimately your lease beats may be those that they should also be fire, but like let's just say your lease beats are easy to I guess throw away, so to speak. That's a bad way to put it, but you want to make sure that your lease beats are not as fire as the exclusive ones, because if the exclusive ones are more fire, then it'll encourage people to buy the exclusive ones and pay that higher rate for that. A lot of beat making platforms where you go sell them, they have contracts embedded into their system. And if you can't find a contract in there, I recommend just looking for a sample contract online. Your contract, let me say this about contract. Your contract does not need to be complicated or wordy and contain all this legalese. No, you just say, hey, I'm selling this beat exclusively to this person for this use for this amount of time, and they can have it for this amount. That's it, right? That's hands down what your contract should be. And if you want to go above and beyond, have an entertainment lawyer, have people draw up stuff and pay that expense, then by all means go ahead and do that. But I think a simple written agreement is all you need. I do that. I have written agreements with Demolished Beats, who makes some of the beats for my projects, and he worked on my last album, Overtime. So check out the link in the description if you want to check out my music and listen to Daydreams from that album. He produced that one. I'm going to keep staying in the chat. Icarus Gray asked, should we still be releasing albums or throwaway is the new wave? That's a loaded question, my friend. Are throwaways the new wave? Ooh. So here's the deal. When it comes to your average consumer, your average listener, they're not listening to full albums, even from the people that they like the most. They're just not listening that hard. And so, honestly, I wouldn't call them throwaways. I would definitely just call them singles. And you should put your best foot forward with every single that you create, single. And make sure that you just put every effort into making every song the best thing that you can create. And because I wouldn't call them throwaways, right? It's easier to attract an audience with a bunch of singles because they might gravitate towards one and really stick, versus an entire album where they might not even get through half of it. They might listen to one song and then they get to the second song and then they just say, this is it for me. I don't like it. And everybody's album isn't the best introduction of them. And so I recommend that folks stick with singles first, then work to albums. I'm going to jump back to Yoda Biloxi, but in the meantime, I would like everybody to hop down to that like button. Be sure to click that thumbs up for the algorithm. Make sure that you share this with somebody who wants to get some great information out of it. And put your questions down in the chat so I can answer them. I'm just searching through, making sure that I get some of these. How do people do these long live streams? I don't understand how they do it. I gotta stay like constantly hydrated. I feel like I'm in the classroom teaching. This is what it feels like. So going back up to Yoda Biloxi. So would it be wise to hold a mini sweepstakes game at meet and greets, allowing supporters to get exclusive merch and becoming an exclusive premium member? I have done contests in the past, and contests are pretty complicated. The reason why they're complicated is the legal ramifications around contests and having those contest guidelines be super clear, super transparent, and making sure that people know exactly what they're getting for their participating in the contest. And also, you have to do what you say you're gonna do, and stick to your word. Stick to your word when it comes to a contest. And so when you're developing a contest, you're making sure that you go over the contest rules as clearly as you possibly can on every single social platform that you have. And you probably want to use an official contest aggregator or something like that, because otherwise they're going to kick you off of social media if you don't do the contest right. So contests, yes, are a good way to market and get your supporters engaged, but you have to be careful about how you do them. And I can't really speak to the details. Like every contest is different, but if the prize is exclusive merch, then great. Make sure that you only print a handful of them and make sure that you have enough to fulfill those orders. And with merch, it's really difficult. So make sure that you get the average person's sizes, so you don't order too much, but you also don't order so much that it's not exclusive anymore and you have to give them away. So I'm gonna jump back to Fenrico, and then I'm gonna answer another question from the slides that are in the comment section. Question 2, lately been looking for music distributors, many YouTube tutorials don't talk about Merlin, InGrooves, Orchard, etc. Mostly talk about TuneCore, CD Baby, etc. What do I say about that? So I also am guilty of not talking about all these other distributors that are available. And that's simply because people have already done the work for me before. So there is I'll put it in the chat. So ari'stake.com, and it's ran by Ari Herstand. Ari is a musician, a writer, and he's just great at everything that he does. And he sells a bunch of courses and things of that nature. And Ari is somebody that I learned from, 7 years ago when I was kind of revamping my career. And so thanks to Ari for all these tips and tricks that I know to this day. He has a whole guide on his website about most of the distributors that you could choose from. And it's really important that you go to his website and check out that list of distributors. And I reference this list of distributors oftentimes when I talk about the difference between CD Baby, TuneCore, etc. And Fenrico, since I'm here, I'll answer your third question. PROs like BMI, ASCAP, what are their coverage? Do they only operate in countries that they sign treaties with? Yes. And how do you even know? Thank you. So these companies, they are in the U.S., but they operate internationally. So they collect from international streams and things of that nature. But here's the deal. If you live in another country, you want to use the PRO that's assigned to that country. You don't want to sign up with BMI unless you absolutely have to. And that means that if you do sign up with BMI, you need to find an address for somewhere in the States. You might need a whole bunch of other documentation and stuff like that in it, and even do it. And so I don't recommend that you I don't recommend um, that you sign up with a PRO outside of your country that you're in. And if your country doesn't have a PRO, I would definitely fight for that, for you to get one. And most PROs, they talk to each other, and so therefore they can collect internationally for any royalties that you're owed. Um, I think I answered that question pretty well. I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint. In the meantime, I want everybody to um, make sure that they hit that like button. If you're here, be sure to show some love and subscribe to this channel. I put out a new video every single week. On top of that video, I put out some clips from the podcast that I host with Icarus Gray called No Rhyme or Reason Podcast. And we do that every single week as well. And so there's normally about 4 videos that pop out on this channel every single week. And then every once in a while, I'll get the itch and I'll make some new music and put that out as well. I'm still working on an album in the background. And yeah, as I make new music for that, then I will share that. I have my newest song out is called Jam. You can go check that out on my website, wordplaytj.com, or check the link down in the description to listen to Jam, listen to Icarus Gray and everybody else from On the Map Music Group. I ran out of questions on the slides, so I'm gonna just stay in the chat. I don't have anything else to share from the slides, and we got about 5 minutes to go. So let me pick one of these other questions. Chris Jericho says, "How do I buy a beat?" There's plenty of places to buy beats. Icarus Gray, I don't know if you can put some of those links in the chat for me, please. BeatStars. Geez, I'm starting. I draw a blank because I don't even buy beats much anymore. I either have people offer me beats in email, or I have close connections and ties with other producers that have beats readily available, or I make them myself. As you can see, I'm a producer. I have my stuff down here, and I just get busy. And so, BeatStars is one, and I recommend doing some Google searches for other beat selling websites. Let's see. Mastermind asks, "What's the best distribution company?" It's hard for me to say. Everything is tailored to what you need, right? So you need to understand what you need out of a distribution company and then choose wisely. Use that link that I put in the chat for aristake.com and check out his comprehensive list of different distributors. And also make sure you're mindful of what you need in order to choose that distributor wisely. Also think about it long term, right? If you're thinking about it in the long term, where do you want your music to live if that's in there? Um, Thanks, Icarus Gray, for putting those links in the chat. There's plenty of other links in the description for this video. So whenever it's published and it's live, you can go check out the description if you can't already. Yeah, there's plenty of links in the description. So go check that out. I had to double check to make sure that was good. Um, let's see. I think that's pretty much it. We only have a couple minutes left, so without any other lasting questions, I just want to promote and push some stuff. I have some ebooks ready to go down in the description. My first ebook was called First 4 Ps to Starting Your Independent Music Career. This is my whole entire philosophy and the basis of my music business as it is. The 4 Ps, the product, the placement, publishing, and the promotion of your work. And you can get this on my website down in the description. For only $5, you can order this and kind of get your music career started. If you want to learn more about publishing as well, I have a complete guide for U.S. People in the United States that want to get their publishing, and then we can put that out. Can I battle rap? Stop trolling me, dude. Battle rap is not my thing. Anyway, that's so funny. We just had a conversation about that on the podcast, so be sure to check out the podcast, No Rhyme or Reason, yeah, on every single podcast application. The link is also down in the description. I want to plug one more thing. Book a consultation with me, a 1 hour session where I break down how you can earn revenue from your music, a custom plan for the next 6 months, and get my support via email for 6 months after that. Use the discount code BOOK20 for 20% off of consultations. You can find that at wordplaytj.com/rise. And I will put those links down in the description as well. My next live video, we can schedule it out. I want to do one a month, and so maybe the last week of November, maybe definitely after, let's see, last week of November is basically Thanksgiving weekend, so I'll probably do it the week before. Let's try to aim for November 20th, where we can jump into a live conversation and have more of these Q&A sessions. So that is it. I appreciate you watching this video. Be sure to give this a like. Be sure to share this with somebody that might get something out of it. Be sure to put a comment down in the comment section, and I will answer your questions as best as I possibly can. I appreciate you watching this video. Until next time, it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ. Peace. Gonna cue some music.
Says made this one.